Yeah, I know. You think I'd be starting the show off with a little bit more professionalism, but I'm sorry. When I have to talk about the worst movie-going experience I've ever had in my life, the worst movie I've ever seen in my life, even somebody like me that doesn't drink has to go ahead and plow a few. So, with all that said, let's prepare to head back into that hell once again. Bottoms up.
Lucy, rated R.
Alright, let's get something straight out of the gate first of all. This is not alcohol. In fact, it's far from it. This is actually, believe it or not, here's a relic of COVID times. This is a bottle of hand sanitizer. And even this thing smells like hand sanitizer. Like, you can't smell it at home, but yeah, this thing literally still smells like hand sanitizer. Even though I did clean this out 6 years ago. It even tells you on the front there, do not drink it, which I don't think anybody needs to tell you not to drink hand sanitizer. And by the way, it's actually brought to you by Faber Liquor. So, yeah. So, yeah, that's the prop I've been using there. So, sorry to ruin the illusion for you, but no, I don't drink. And, yeah. But if I did, it would certainly be for the movie that we're about to talk about here. Welcome, everybody, to Time About the Movies. Today, we have a massive show for you with 6 movies on the docket today for July 25th, 2014. But before we get to any of the other ones that are actually tolerable, or at least somewhat enjoyable, we have to go to the bottom of the barrel. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are new to this channel and have never seen the other videos I've made about how much I hate this movie, welcome to the worst movie I have ever seen in my entire effing life, Lucy. Now, Luc Besson was one of the pioneers of the 90s action movie. You know, he made classics like La Femme Nikita, Leon the Professional, The Fifth Element. However, like most film pioneers of the time, there comes a point where that badass awesomeness has to slip away, and people start to realize that, yeah, you're getting older and your shtick is getting too old. We've seen it with many directors out there, Rob Cohen, Ridley Scott. We're seeing it now with James Cameron with Avatar: Fire and Ash. But, yeah, Luc Besson's definitely one of those directors who really, really just... Oh, God, this movie. If you never saw my original full-length video talking about how much I hate this movie, here's kind of a rundown of why I hate this movie so much. So in this movie, Scarlett Johansson is a woman who's accidentally caught in a drug deal and turns the tables on her captors and transforms into a merciless warrior evolved beyond human logic. Like, I'm not even kidding, folks. I really felt like, when I saw this movie for the first time, I thought I lost a bunch of my own brain cells watching this, because I got out of this movie, I was literally questioning life itself and wondering how something this bad can make it into theaters and be a big hit. Because, yes, this was a massive hit at the box office, and some may argue it was the Scarlett Johansson factor, because, you know, people go to see her in these movies, and, she knows how to draw people into these films, and they become big blockbuster hits. And there's a reason why she's she's considered one of the top-grossing box office stars of all time at this point. I mean, Jurassic World Dominion was a massive success with her involved in it. I mean, it's getting to the point now where everyone wants to put her in these movies. I mean, she's going to be in The Exorcist coming up. She's going to be in Tangled, although I think that actually was a rumor where, she passed it up because she's actually going to be doing the Batman next, if I'm not mistaken. I could be misreading on that, but I don't know. I think I'd have to go in and check again. But the point I'm trying to get across is that people will go to see her in any movie she's in, regardless of how terrible it is. And boy, this was bad. How bad is it? It's worse than Transcendence. Let me repeat that. This movie is worse than Transcendence. How is that even possible? Transcendence, as bad of a movie as that was at least trying to tell a story and give you reasons for why the characters were doing what they were doing. They failed to explain that well in that movie, but they tried. This one doesn't even try at all. Luc Besson, who also wrote this, by the way, basically told his fans, his loyal fans, you know what, I don't want to tell you something new, because that's what this movie feels like. It's literally a retread of Limitless, only not smartly written and not a good film. Like, this is basically the 2 key elements of action films today. Car chases and shootouts, spliced in with pointless, and I mean pointless, stock footage to show off the director's artistic bullshit, or as a film brain like to call it back in the day, symbolism, like that type of thing. And not only that, the acting is terrible in this. Scarlett Johansson is completely wasted in this movie, taking all that badassness that we saw in Black Widow and in Captain America the Winter Soldier, just giving her nothing to do except to just be a bland, lame action heroine with no emotions whatsoever. Angelina Jolie and Soda's looking a whole lot better by comparison, and that movie sucked too. The fact that you made Salt look better than this movie is just fucking pure evil. And that is not any clearer with the addition of Morgan Freeman, who once again, just like he did in Transcendence, sees this and says, well, I don't know what this means, but hey, it's got Scarlett Johansson in it, so I guess I'll be in it. Like, stop taking these terrible movies that make no sense to you. Like, Morgan Freeman literally has nothing to do in this movie except to just be the exposition guy, and it just is a failure on so many levels. Oh my god, like I felt like when he saw the script, I feel like he needs to be more. Is when script guy keeps bringing up scripts for this, for bad movies like this, he should have just gone to one of his other agents and says, shoot this motherfucker, like be like the guy in Wanted, just get out of this situation, man. Lucy has nothing to do in this movie whatsoever. There's 2 scenes in this movie where she has the bad guys right where she wants them, defenseless. Does she decide to kill him off or get a revenge on him like you're supposed to? I mean, they literally drug this person up to put her in this situation here. You know what she does? Lets him go for no reason. Like, is this a revenge film? Like, what are we doing here? Like, seriously, what is the point of this movie where you literally have the main person who's been fucked over by these people do nothing to him? It's just like, yeah, I've got you where I want them. Okay, I'm gonna let you go then, bye. It's just like, what are we even doing here? Like, it's just, nothing is ever explained in this movie. They never talk about, why is this happening to Lucy? They don't explain why they need to do the stuff she does in this. They never explain what the purpose of her plan is. Nothing is ever explained in this movie whatsoever. There's nothing about this movie that anybody should be happy with, especially Luc Besson. Like, he should be ashamed of himself for putting this abomination on his name. Like, this is what he stands for. This movie is just, it's fucking terrible, man. It's terribly acted. The story is all over the place. Nothing about it makes any sense. It is very much high up there with some of the worst movies I have ever had the misfortune of sitting, and it is without a doubt the worst thing I have ever seen in my entire life. Like, this one just took the cake for how lazy and uninspired it was. This film is a mess of a film. Like, I hope Luc Besson never makes a good movie again for the rest of his goddamn life, because, yeah, this movie is just fucking awful. Awful. And I go into greater detail on this in the video I did. If you want to check that out, it's in the corner. It's down below. Go check it out there. But I'm sorry, this movie fucking sucks. I hate this movie more than any other movie that I've ever had the misfortune to sit through. Like, this... Have you got the point yet? Have you got the point that this is awful? Well, I did it. I got through the worst movie of the weekend easily. So hopefully we can get better with our next movie, and that is Dwayne Johnson as Hercules. Yeah, that's pretty cool and all, but can you do this? I mean, sadly, there is no scene where Dwayne Johnson throws a bear into fucking outer space, just like Lou Ferrigno did in the 1980s. But yeah, that is still one of the only reasons why that movie is even remotely memorable. It's just that random scene where Lou Ferrigno's Hercules throws a bear into outer space. For what reason? We don't know. There's no reason for it. And yeah, the movie doesn't realize it either. But this is, without a doubt, the best live-action Hercules movie we've ever had. I mean, we had Legend of Hercules earlier in the year, and yeah, the Lou Ferrigno movies are not great, but they're certainly they're so bad it's good type of bad overall. This, on the other hand, this is a movie that actually does work. It's 1400 years BCE. A tormented soul walked through the earth that was neither man nor god, called Hercules, played by Dwayne Johnson. He was the powerful son of the god King Zeus. For this he received nothing but suffering his entire life. After 12 arduous labors and the loss of his family, the dark, world-weary soul turned his back on the gods, finding his only solace in bloody battle. Over the years, he's worn to the company of 6 similar souls, their only bond being the love of fighting and presence of death. These men and women never question where they go to fight or why or whom, just how much they will be paid. Now the king of Thrace, played by John Hurt, has hired these mercenaries to train his men to become the greatest army of all time. It is time for this bunch of lost souls to finally have their eyes opened to how far they have fallen when they must train an army and become as ruthless and bloodthirsty as their reputation has become. So I'm not gonna lie, when this trailer first came out, I was not when they first announced this, I was not looking forward to it. But after seeing Legend of Hercules, and I think a lot of people were really sold on the idea of this possibly being at least good summer escapism overall. And the first trailer came out and it actually looked pretty good. It actually looked very promising overall. And sure enough, that's exactly what this movie was. I mean, keep in mind, I saw this the same day as I saw Lucy. And after watching that abortion of a movie, this is a movie that I'm glad I was able to, take my mind off of things and just enjoy for what it was. Because, yeah, this was a very fun movie that didn't have to be smart or too groundbreaking to be entertainment. If you can go into this movie just wanting a big, fun, summer escapist epic, this is definitely what you're going to get in this. And that's actually another great thing about the movie. It's just a good sword and sandal epic, and we don't get too much of those nowadays, but it just works. Dwayne Johnson, I think, sells the role of Hercules very well in the same way he did as the Scorpion King, which, was actually a better mummy movie than actually of the mummy movies when you really think about it. And, he's great in the movie, as well as Ian McShane and one of the members of his team, who's a prophet and predicts what will kill him, which leads into some of the funnier moments of the movie. The rest of the cast is really good, too. It's good to see John Hurt playing an older guy in a villainous role. I think that was kind of fun to see. The action sequences overall are pretty impressive, too. I mean, it does a good job of making the 3D beneficial to the film itself with some of the creature designs, and it's relatively short, too. It's only 90 minutes long. It's a good comfort food movie that you can sit through during the hot summer season and have a good time with it overall. Is it a perfect movie? Absolutely not. There are definitely a lot of flaws about it, like the accuracy rate of Hercules and this team are way too goddamn perfect. And I also can't stand movies that have characters goes, oh, he's not the legend, and oh, I'm not who everybody thinks I am, because that happens here. It's just kind of like, well, if you're not the character you're supposed to be, then why is the movie called Hercules? If it was called, if it had another title like John or something like that, we probably would figure out that, yeah, this guy ain't worth shit. It's like Alice in Wonderland was notorious for that too, with the main character consistently saying that, oh, she's not the Alice everybody thinks she is. So it's just like, oh, yes, she freaking is. Stop lying. Seriously. But, yeah, it's got its flaws overall, but there's nothing wrong with a fun, over-the-top summer movie in every once in a while. And after having to sit through Lucy the same day, this movie was more than welcoming. I mean, if you're looking for a good, old, fun time at the movies, this is definitely the one to see. Hercules is something that is indeed worth watching. It's definitely worth it, and it certainly kicks the crap out of the Legend of Hercules earlier in the year. That's for damn sure. So, with that said, let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, and that is Michael Douglas and Diane Keaton starring in And So It Goes.
Little is a little sensitive. Rude.
You can die now.
Unbelievable! Who's that?
That's my granddaughter. She's probably Guatemalan.
What?
He had sex with the maid once. I will pay you to watch her.
Michael Douglas and Diane Keaton.
Happy birthday.
It's not my birthday.
What do you think, I'm stupid?
I'm honestly with Diane Keaton. What the fuck is this movie? Believe it or not, this has a lot of stuff that's very relevant to what's been going on over the last couple of months, because not only is this a film featuring the recently deceased Diane Keaton, but it was also directed by the recently deceased Rob Reiner. So yeah, this is gonna be kind of hard to review here, because this is not a good movie, but the whole thing about respecting the dead and all that. But, yeah, Michael Douglas starring as Orrin Little, who's a realtor by trade who develops self-absorption, turning his back on the neighbors and shunning the notion of kindness to others. Hey, kind of like me during this time. But after his wife dies, part of his self-absorption is having no patience for children, not even his own adult estranged son. His next-door neighbor, Leah, whose own husband has likewise died, never had any children of her own, which leads her to throw her soul and her tears into reviving a single career that has stagnated. And I think you get kind of the idea of where we're going with this whole thing. And To Michael Douglas and Diane Keaton's credit, they're fine in this movie, but the problem is, this feels like lesser Rob Reiner's work. I mean, Rob Reiner has made a lot of really good movies in general here, and this is actually the second time that he and Michael Douglas have collaborated. The other one was the much better movie in The American President, but this was around that time where Rob Reiner's legacy, directing credits as a whole, was kind of like falling flat overall, and there was nothing really significant or amazing that was really standing up to his much better works in the beginning. Like, this movie just didn't really do it for me, and I think it's just mostly because it's a half-assed effort overall. There's nothing really exciting about it overall, nothing really amazing about it, nothing really that engaging. It's just kind of like, oh, this is a movie that feels like it's clearly made for the much older audiences. Like, this feels like a movie that would be right up there with what Diane Keaton would be doing later on with these movies that are clearly girls' night out movies where the people aren't paying attention to what's going on in the actual movie and care more about what they're drinking and dressing before they actually look at the screen. But, I mean, to me, this just didn't work. It was just not an entertaining film. It was a really boring film, honestly. And for a film directed by Rob Reiner that has Michael Douglas and Diane Keaton among its cast, you expect so much better from it overall. And this one just sadly didn't do it for me, so. Speaking of movies with people who had then recently died, let's go ahead and move on to Philip Seymour Hoffman and one of the first movies he did before he passed away. One of the last movies he did before he passed away is what I should be saying. And that is A Most Wanted Man.
3 hours to apprehend a doula. Philip Seymour Hoffman is brilliant, man.
Of course, we already know Philip Seymour Hoffman is brilliant, but what about the movie? I mean, that's the first thing I wanted to think of. I wanted to ask this movie. It's just like, okay, he's a brilliant actor. He was one of our brilliant actors that we had working. So what's the point here? But this is a film based off of a book from John le Carre, who also gave us Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, and it focuses on a brutally tortured half-Chechen, half-Russian immigrant turning up in Hamburg's Islamic community, laying claim to his father's ill-gotten fortune. Both German and U.S. secret agents take a close interest as the clock ticks down as the stakes rise. The race is on to establish the most wanted man's true identity, oppressed victim or destruction-bent extremist. Based on John le Carre's novel, A Most Wanted Man is a contemporary... Sorry, I'm getting distracted here by this ad right here. A Most Wanted Man is a contemporary cerebral tale of intrigue, love, rivalry, and politics that prickles with tensions right through its last heart-stopping scene. Sorry, this ad over here got me distracted. Like, it went blue screen for a second. Just like, what the hell's going on here? But anyway, back to this movie in general here. And I'm talking about this like it's a bad movie overall. It's really not. It's just another one of those movies where it's just like, there's not, kind of like within So It Goes, there's nothing really about it that makes it really stand out as anything that amazing. This is directed by the same person who did The American, which I thought was a really good, underrated George Clooney movie that came out a couple years ago. And the acting over here is fine, I guess. Philip Seymour Hoffman is pretty good in here. So is Rachel McAdams, doing more of an accent than what we're used to hearing her. And for the most part, it's done okay. Willem Dafoe's pretty good in here. Robin Wright, Daniel Bruhl. But the rest of the movie itself, though, is kind of boring. It moves way too slow. Like, it has a lot of problems that another movie similar to this will have later on in the year with Black Hat, where, I mean, it has some good ideas to it, but it's just a boring film to sit through, and nothing really intriguing happens in it. And in this case, yeah, nothing really intriguing happens in here that we haven't seen done before. It's a movie where, I mean, the acting is fine. The rest of the movie really is not. It's just kind of a slow burn movie that really doesn't feel like it's there to give you anything in return in the end. It just kind of feels like it's kind of pointless overall. I mean, yeah, it's cool to see Philip Seymour Hoffman in one of his last movies before he passed away, but other than that, though, it's not one I'd recommend personally. So, with that said, let's move on to our next movie, and that is Gabriel Iglesias' The Fluffy Movie, Unity Through Laughter.
What's up, you guys? This is Gabriel Iglesias wishing you a very happy Independence Day, happy 4th of July, whatever day you want it to be. It's Friday, it's check day as far as I'm concerned. So what are we going to do with that money? I'll tell you what you're going to do. You're going to head down to your movie theater July 25th and check out the new Fluffy movie starring Gabriel Iglesias. Why does he say it like that? Why can't he just say Gabriel? Because the name was actually Gabriel Iglesias, but most people can't say it that way, so we got to go with what we can. So check it out in theaters July 25th, and don't you forget to be safe out there with the fireworks.
But the movie doesn't come out until July 25th, so why couldn't you just wait to get your paycheck for that particular weekend to go see the movie? I mean, you see the problem here with this film and with the way they're marketing this film. But this is a stand-up comedy movie with Gabriel Iglesias, and, you know, this is a film that is taking a lot of inspiration from Eddie Murphy's Raw, which, the comic, Gabriel Iglesias himself was the inspiration for him to become a comedian. And the majority of the film is about him, he's basically performing his act in San Jose. And, you have the beginning kind of similar to how Eddie Murphy Raw opens up, where you have a flashback to, his early life overall and the thing that made him want to become a comedian. And then you have the comedy show itself. I guess for the fan base, it's perfectly fine, but personally, I was never really into Gabriel Iglesias' comedy. Not that I don't think the guy's a bad comedian per se. I just never really took an interest in it per se. I never really was like, okay, this is somebody I should definitely, I want to see a lot of good comedy from, like I would for Eddie Murphy or Dave Chappelle. But I just never really got in. I just never really really wanted to go see his comedy in general here. And watching this, it's fine, I guess. But again, it's something that I think is more suitable for Iglesias' fan base, because I think his fan base definitely would get a kick out of this film. But even then, it's not really something that I would say it's up there with some of the great stand-up comedy movies. I think there's been so many other better ones done by Richard Pryor, done by Dave Chappelle, done by Kevin Hart, done by, Steve Harvey and the original Kings of Comedy, I think are done so much better. Martin Lawrence, I think, has done it a whole lot better. But other than that, though, it's fine, I guess. It's not the worst, but it's not the best either. And I think for, Gabriel Iglesias' fans in general, I think they'll get a kick out of it overall. But for me personally, I'm just not a big super fan of this overall. So just take that for what you will. But, yeah, overall, I don't think it's bad, but it's not really up to my style in general here. I'm not really much of a Gabriel Iglesias fan. So for me personally, I don't think it's something I would personally get a kick out of. But if you're a fan of Gabriel Iglesias, definitely give it a watch. I think it's definitely worth it. So with all that said, let's go ahead and move on to our last movie that we have here, and that's Woody Allen's latest film, and that is Magic in the Moonlight.
So there's more mystery, more magic.
You see the universe. It's menacing.
Menacing? I'd say it was pretty romantic.
Magic in the Moonlight, rated PG-13, now playing only in theaters.
Needless to say, there ain't nothing too magical about this movie. It really literally feels like something that, we've kind of seen done before over and over again, and done in much better Woody Allen movies, like A Midnight in Paris. But, yeah, this, not one of his better ones. Wee Ling Soo, a.k.a. Stanley Crawford, played by Colin Firth, is a magician who has dedicated his life to revealing fraudulent spiritualists. He plans to quickly uncover the truth behind celebrated spiritualist Sophie Baker, played by Emma Stone, and her scheming mother, played by Marcia Gay Harden. However, the more time he spends with her, he starts thinking that she might actually be able to communicate with the other world, but even worse, he might be falling in love with her. Gee, this sounds a lot like other Woody Allen movies from the last couple of years, like aforementioned Midnight in Paris, and also a little bit of Scoop as well. It feels like a movie that has been done to death before, and yeah, there ain't nothing really magical about it, but the cast, I think, is perfectly fine, and then Colin Firth and Emma Stone do at least have some good chemistry to them in this. But yeah, other than that, though, this really isn't something I would say is something that you want to watch if you want to see some of the best of Woody Allen's work. There's nothing really about it that makes it stand out, at all. It's not really an entertaining movie. It's not really one of Woody Allen's better films in general, and you expect so much more from him, but this, it just didn't work for me. So yeah, that's a hard skip on a Magic in the Moonlight. And thus, with all that said, we wrap up another episode of Time About the Movies. Next time we meet, we take a look at the first two movies of August. And we're at least starting the month off on a promising note with James Gunn entering the Marvel Cinematic Universe by bringing the Guardians of the Galaxy to life on the big screen and giving us a movie that I don't think a lot of people really saw coming, myself included. But then we also have Chadwick Boseman in his big follow-up after playing Jackie Robinson so well in 42. He stars as another iconic legend, this time in the world of music, and that is the innovator of soul, the godfather of soul, James Brown in Get On Up, where his performance is great. The movie, we'll talk about that tomorrow on the show, so be on the lookout for that. But with all that said, thank you so much for watching this, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and do me the honors of hitting that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification button. Also, don't forget to check out our playlist, and don't forget to check out the previous episode we did. So with all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.